A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. Now, John's disciples and the Pharisees were fasting, and people came and said to him, "Why do John's disciples and the disciples of the Pharisees fast, but your disciples do not fast?" Jesus said to them, "The wedding guests cannot fast while the bridegroom is with them, can they? As long as they have the bridegroom with them, they cannot fast. The days will come when the bridegroom is taken away from them, and then they will fast on that day. No one sews a piece of unshrunk cloth on an old cloth. Otherwise, the patch pulls away from it, the new from the old, and a worse tear is made. And no one puts new wine into old wineskins. Otherwise, the wine will burst the skins, and the wine is lost, and so are the skins. But one puts new wine into fresh wineskins." The Gospel of the Lord. So, once again, welcome everybody, and particular welcome to our students up here from College the Reach. Good to have you with us. Thanks everybody for your cooperation with the stewards and for your courtesy in parking. It really makes a big difference in terms of the success of the Novena and the reputation that we get as Novena goers. So particularly ask not to obstruct parking or to avoid parking at the Aura Leisure Centre and the government buildings. That will help a great deal. Confessions are heard before and after each session of the Novena in the reconciliation room and the two boxes here in the church. And I invite you to please take the Novena flyers and the car stickers to spread the word of the Novena, and so as to be able to check times and special events, and maybe take an extra one or two to give to a neighbour as a form of invitation. We thank Dundalk FM 100 for broadcasting the daily Novena at 4 p.m. on weekdays, Saturday at 1 p.m. and Sunday at 9 a.m. Candles can be bought in the porch of the church for €2 each, and these can be taken home or left in the baskets to be burned at the shrines here in St. Joseph's. And the notice here says, "Be careful when burning candles. Always place them in a saucer or plate and well away from the curtains." I think we know that ourselves. Okay. My name is Brendan O'Rourke, and I'm based in the Redemptorist community in C.S.R, County Galway. I was here about 10 years ago for your Novena and loved it, and loved meeting you all, and was delighted to be invited back to be with you again this time. I'm a Yellow Belly myself, and you know what that is, a Wexford man. I come from Wexford town. Anna Akhmatova was a Russian poet, and she lived 1889 to 1966. And for many years, her poetry was banned. Her husband, also a poet, was executed by firing squad, and her son spent years in a labour camp. Anna's poetry wasn't something you'd read in a Hallmark birthday card or anniversary card or Valentine's card. No, her poetry asked questions of society, passed comments, and above all, pointed to the fact that things could be done differently in society. Writing poetry and telling stories isn't just what you do for children at bedtime. It can be so dangerous, it gets you killed, as it did Jesus. That's the kind of stuff Jesus was producing in his parables. And over these 9 days of our Novena, we're invited to listen afresh to those parables. They're very familiar, and with the familiar we can miss out on the core radical message. They say, I study dreams a bit, and they say if you have a dream and you wake up and you immediately think you know what the dream is about, you're missing the point of the dream. Most times. That we have to sit with the dream. We have to wait over time and ask questions about the meaning of the dream for it to reveal its secret. And parables are like that. So I invite yourself and myself to listen for the challenge of the parable, the questions, and especially the no easy answers that parables ask us to consider. St. Gerard, I would think, was very unpredictable in many ways. He regularly behaved in surprising ways. And I'm sure the members of his community, the priests and brothers, would regularly wonder, what in God's name is he up to now? What has he done now? They never knew what he would do next. But beneath the surface, I think that Gerard was wonderfully predictable. Rules and regulations and people's expectations were not high on his list. But the life of Jesus, the vision of Jesus, and the light of the Holy Spirit were his inspiration. He was captivated by the terror of parables, the man of surprises. Gerard was led to see the world through Jesus' eyes, not reducing things as we tend to do to just black and white, right or wrong, good or bad. And he didn't give in to the temptation to cling to the old for the security of the old ways, nor grasp the new because of the novelty that newness can sometimes give. Gerard and so many followers of Jesus have found in today's parable the call to keep asking questions in our day-to-day life. Questions like, what is the kind response here in this moment? What is the compassionate way of acting, maybe contrary to my inclination? What does justice ask of me right here at the moment? Or how am I being asked to build community at this stage of my life? Or what do I need to let go of in my life that's no longer serving me or others? Or who do I need to forgive? Or who do I need to ask for forgiveness? Years ago, when I was a second-year Redemptorist student, we had a new boss come. And, you try your luck with someone new. He didn't know the ropes, so we tried our luck. And what we tried, up to that stage, this is back in 1969, 70. And up to then, the Redemptorists never got home at Christmas time, okay? And so we asked Father Paddy Green, who was our formator, our boss, we asked him, would you consider letting us home for a few days after Christmas? And he said, I think about it. And so we knew that the likely time he would tell us would be after giving a talk to us, which he always did on a Saturday evening. So we waited, hoping for the next Saturday. And Father Paddy came in and he gave us his talk. And then we knew at the end of the talk we were going to get the results. And we were waiting for the results. And Paddy started off, he said, I've given your request some consideration. He said, and I was thinking that when we were students, we didn't get home for Christmas holidays, and I don't think it did us any harm. And I said, oh God, here we go. But he wasn't finished. And I remember all those years back, what's that, 30, 40, 45 years ago, I still remember that moment. Because then he went on to say, he said, it didn't do us any harm. But he followed up with this line, he said, but I don't think it did our parents any good. Gerard, Paddy heard the fresh message of Jesus, calling for what gives life, beyond any tradition or rule, beyond the way things were. A pilot I know, he works in Italy now, but he told me when he was living in Dublin, his 5-year-old Joseph was with him one very, very cold day, and they were walking across the Liffey, across one of the bridges over the Liffey in Dublin. And as they were walking across, they saw a man begging on the ground over the far side of the bridge. And Conleth, typical of him, as he was going along, he looked over and he said, almost under his breath, God help him, because it was such a cold day. But Joseph, his 5-year-old, looked up to him, looked up and caught his eye. And Joseph said to him, you see, Joseph was a friend of Jesus, and he was wise beyond his years. So, just as he heard his father say, God help him, Joseph looked up at him and he said, what about you help him? 5-year-old. So Conleth, chastened, dug into his pocket and he came out with a 5-euro note. He said, Joseph, go over and give it to him. Why don't you? That may be a question many of the parables will be asking us over these 9 days. And just to finish, in these weeks in Rome, some of the bishops at the Synod are saying that they're there to protect the truth, that essentials or central teaching can't change. And there are going to be other bishops there who are questioning whether what is considered and accepted as essential or the truth is in fact really true to the teaching and vision of Jesus. The parables warn us away from easy answers. New and old wine, new and old skins, old cloth and new patches. Jesus invites you and invites me to search for ways that give life, for ways that show love.